Alright, it's June 21st right now, and I want to provide an update on the potted mango trees. The difference with these potted mango trees for me is that they are not intended to ever go in the ground. They're going to remain as potted trees, and I have quite a few potted trees, whether they're grafted or the seedlings. The seedlings will probably, some will stay in pots and some will go in the ground, but the grafted ones are definitely are remaining in pots for several reasons. This experience is to grow them out of pots, see how much fruit I could get with them, and lots of these rootstock are pretty much unknown Florida rootstocks to me, so I'm not comfortable with them ever going in the ground, so they're going to remain as potted trees. So I'm going to show you guys not all of them, but the one that has some significant changes where I'm going to be just kind of pruning it off. I think maybe later on I'll add another pruning video in terms of to show you guys what I do with pruning, but I'm treating these the same way as I would treat a plant that I'm intending to go in the ground, which is developing one central main leader in the trunk before I decide to let it fruit. I let that develop to at least like about 4 inches in circumference before I want that to fruit. So the best way to do that is have a central leader in terms of your structure before you start letting it fruit, and before you start kind of shaping it, you let it you let the trunk develop in size. So this is the oldest one I have. I got this in 2021. Last year gave me 2 fruits. Unfortunately, last year did not send out any vegetation. So you can see some of this where, because of that, the blooms kind of started moving down the nodes on the limbs. So it looks like I'm finally getting some vegetative push right here. So finally getting some. So this is my oldest one that I have in the pot. Okay. Let me show you what's next. Let's see, this one is one I just recently got this year actually. Decent size. This one is called Varietal. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, or at least pretty sure I'm butchering it. But it just, was in June, and this just, I seen it push buds. I was hoping that it was going to be vegetation, and it looks like it's mixed blooms. So I'll probably be cutting this off very shortly right after this video. There's no point in leaving these mixed blooms, in my opinion. They don't make good vegetative buds, and I'm going to cut it since we're getting into pretty warm weather. It's not even in the low 60s at night anymore. Our forecast having it in the mid 60s, so hopefully that is enough to get pure vegetation out of some of these. Some varieties seems to send out blooms a lot more easier, and some don't. So this one is going to be cut off. Another one that I'm cutting off is also this. This is 015. Again, was hoping for some vegetation, but it's bloom / mixed bloom in the middle of June. So, okay. Next up, this is white piri. Look at this, lots of fruitlets set on it. I hear good things about white piri, so I'm hoping to at least harvest some scions from this year to graft onto my larger tree. But this is a white piri, little fruitlets. I will be cutting this off pretty soon. Too. I'm gonna just wait a little. The one with the fruitlets develop, I'm gonna wait a little bit longer because I really would hate for it to kind of rebloom again. So let's see what else. Oh, I got a 03415, and this one just flush vegetation in this last month. Nice flush right there. That's a 03416, and it was the first of my 1 gallons to actually flush vegetation. This one's Sun Pari. No, this one is Banga Nepali. So this one flushed some vegetation also. Looking good. And I have this curry, which You see it. This is the second bloom on the cherry right here. I have quite a few cherries. I have about 10 of them in the pot, so I'll be experimenting a little bit on them. Some of them I may let them hold fruit. Some of them I won't. Some of them I'll see if I let the second bloom hold fruit. Don't really have a clear picture of what I'll be doing with all of them, but I'll be mixing it up a little bit. Okay, this is cherry. This is Julie, and there's still quite a few fruits set on this. I'll be planning to remove it, but I'm getting attacked by ants for the last month. They've been just kind of like farming aphids, and if it's not aphids, they're farming scales. I've been spraying, but they just keep on coming back. So this Julie's been in a little bit of bad shape just because of the blooming, and also all the ants that's been just kind of attacking it. So we'll see. I'm planning to prune it pretty soon with the hot weather we're getting. Hopefully that kind of reinvigorates it. This one's Julie. This right here is Sun Paris. Good thing about this is like the fruitlets. It had a lot of fruit sets. I've been breaking them off. Quite a few. There's still some here, but I'll be breaking this off soon too. Again, it's getting attacked by ants, but the fruits, I never had a Sun Paris, but like the fruitlets has a very strong Alfonso smell. I'm hoping it has the same similar kind of taste profile, because it seems to be a much more productive than Alfonso, but we'll see how it goes. I'll be removing this. This is a Sun Paris, and then this right here is Dwarf Hawaiian. Dwarf Hawaiian, what can I say? This thing's been blooming since December. It's on its third flush of blooms right now. Like we're in June, and it's even sending out kind of new blooms right here. We're already in June, so it's like pretty crazy. I intend to remove most of this and do a heavy pruning on this probably in July, just to be safe, because it seems to be an easy bloomer, and it keeps on blooming and blooming and moving down the branch. There's even more right here, and I still have like this fruitlets on here, you know. So this is Dwarf Hawaiian. Not really sure what's gonna happen when I do the heavy pruning on it, because what can I say? it's on its third flush of third flower kind of flush bloom, and it's been like this since December. It has been blooming since December. So this is Dwarf Hawaiian. Up next right here, this is an M4. Look, the fruitlets are pretty large. Unfortunately, I'll be removing this, but it's an M4 right here, and lots of battling these ants and the scales that they've been trying to farm. So this is M4. So update on that one. It's kind of like being shaded out by like some of the grapes, but I'll be removing these fruitlets pretty soon. So this is another cherry. This one has some fruit on it. Here's the fruit. It's on the lower branches. It has some blooms right here too, and some fruitlets. So I was gonna experiment with this a little bit. See, I'll be removing the blooms at the peak of the plant. You know, these ones on top. But this lower branch, I'm gonna leave it and see what happens. See if I can get some vegetation still on this with one fruit on it. Since the fruit isn't on like the dominant branch, maybe I'll be able to get vegetation. I'm not really sure, but we'll see. We're gonna experiment. My guess is holding just this one fruit, it may just kind of slow down. May kind of just slow down the whole tree, but that's the plan. And again, I mentioned I have quite a few cherries in pots to experiment with. This right here is a Valencia Pride, it has been pretty vigorous so far. This is actually on a turpentine rootstock, but not a Zill turpentine. If you kind of recall, I mentioned it in a prior video. If not, make sure you check out the last month's video. So this is a Valencia Pride on a Florida rootstock, and it's flushing quite aggressively. I think there's about 7 branches here. Once they kind of harden off, I'll probably be removing most of them, leaving 2 or 3 branches. The rest I'll probably be using it as scions to graft. But look at this, it's what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 branches that kind of popped out of this Valencia Pride. Very aggressive grower. I think it's benefiting from being a Valencia Pride and a rootstock that is turpentine, but not a Zill turpentine rootstock. So I want to make that kind of note that I think all turpentines are kind of less vigorous growers, and they're all slower growers. But specifically the Zill one seems to be the worst of the bunch. Okay, Valencia Pride. Up next, this is a Fallon. It's a Thai variety. I guess it's mostly eaten green, crunchy. So this had a lot of branching. I removed a lot of branches. I'm trying to just maintain one branch on this. I probably harvested maybe 4 or 5 scions from this already, just because it was like so much branching. And again, like I mentioned, I don't prefer all that branching. I prefer kind of like a main central leader, and not several branches everywhere. A main central leader until it's, in my opinion, until it's ready to fruit. Then that's when I'll develop some canopy on it and let it fruit. But before then, just like a central leader. So this is Fallon. Okay, right here is Pickering. This tree didn't really look that great when I picked it up. It still hasn't really looked that great, but it has holding up onto this pretty large size fruit. Again, these ants are just like everywhere. I've been kind of battling them. So no vegetation on this Pickering yet, but we'll see how it goes. I'm not even sure if I want to. I'm not sure if I keep this or prune it, just because I have 2 Pickerings, you know. So we'll see. Here's my other Pickering. It looks like it's beginning to send out some vegetation. Unfortunately, like the ants got to it with aphids and stuff. I've been trying to kill them off, but hopefully this flush a little bit more vegetation. This little fruit leg will be going off. So this is Pickering. There's a few others on a small grafted tree. This is a fruit punch right here. Okay, this is a white Alfonso. Here's a Neelam. Here's a Amrapali. And then I got some seedlings here. Here's this is Sweet Tart. So lots of my seedlings has been flushing for like over the last month. They've been flushing for quite a bit. A lot of the grafted ones are just beginning to flush, but the seedlings been flushing for over a month. Okay. So right now most of these are in kind of, I try to give it morning shade and then morning sun. Let me correct that, morning sun and afternoon shade. Unfortunately right now it's under kind of like the canopy of like some grapes and stuff like that. It's not the best ideal way, because usually I found that when it's under the canopy of trees and leaves and stuff like that, like grapes is probably the worst, is that I get a lot of powdery mildew. It's best if it was just like a non-organic kind of shading, like some kind of shade cloth, or like the putting it on the against the east side of putting against a wall that's facing the east. you know, that's the best way. Under the shade of a tree, or like in my case grapes, I seem to get a bit more issues with powdery mildew and kind of ants and powdery mildew a bit more. So just kind of keep that in mind. I recommend shade, afternoon shade, but if you, the best way to do that is, you know, usually the best way to do that is putting it under the tree, but you have to be careful with the trees kind of like giving you guys a bit of fungal issues with powder mildew and stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, that's an update for now. There's a lot more trees, but that would take forever. I would go through all of them. So, all right, that's an update for this month. Thanks, everyone.